backstory. My middle name is Davika. I have never met anyone with that middle name, Davika. Or not just that's her first name. And I was calling a store, and the woman who answered the phone, she said her name was Davika. I said, Davika, there's somebody with that name? Where are you? She was like, New York. I was like, oh, what does the name mean? I don't know what the name means. She says, it means Indian princess. There are a lot of Trinidadians that have the name Davika. So here I'm in Trinidad and I feel like I'm in my roots because that's where I first heard about the name Davika, that it comes from here and it's spelled D-E-V-I-K-A. But my mama spelled it as D-E-V-I-C-A, so I'm going to go home and rewrite my birth certificate and put D-E-V-I-K-A. I am a Trinidadian now at heart. So it is such a pleasure to be here. And you're right, you did tell me. It was like, oh, the picture doesn't do any justice. I forgot you said that. But that's so kind of me to say. So I am this busybody. She's so right. I'm a busybody. I'm here. I'm emailing my business associates. I'm talking to my dad and my parents about my experience, and I'm planning for my trip already at home. But that's what I love to do because I'm living my purpose. And when you're living your purpose, you won't feel the pain of being a busybody. But if you are not living your purpose, it's going to feel like it's a drain. It's going to feel like that people are pulling you at all different angles. But when you find your purpose, and you know this is what God has for you, you will be a happy creature, just like that little pumpkin over there. He's happy. So I wanted to share with you a couple pieces. I did write this book. And I want to talk a little bit about the book, but I don't want to talk about the book in a way of like, oh, buy my book. No, this book was written for a reason, right? It was written because I work with a lot of people, clients, colleagues, who don't know their purpose. They've gotten stuck in a rut, and they needed an affordable resource that they couldn't come into my practice. In the States, we have, insurance, and so some people don't have the right insurance to come into my practice to see me, or they might not have all the extra money that it takes to come into the practice to see me. So I said, well, let me create a resource and give people some tools that they can use that's less than the idea of coming into the practice and working with me. So that's why I wrote this book. It wasn't to be this New York Times bestseller. And Danielle was commenting the other day. She said, did you know when you wrote this book that you'll be in Trinidad? I was like, no. But since now my name is Davika, I think I'm going to be adding extra names because this will take me to other countries. I need to get a Japanese name. I need to get me another name. I got to go to Puerto Rico. I've been there. I got to go to some other places. Barbados, St. Lucia. So I need some other names. So by the end of the day, give me more names. So because then God is going to send me there. But I did know that I would be going to Trinidad and speaking. And when they invited me to do the World Mental Health Day, the first person I invited was my dad because he was part of me developing my purpose. When you got the right people in your life, you will help them develop their purpose. The mom of that little baby, she will help him develop his purpose because you got to plant the seeds. And so I wanted to make certain that my dad was there because he planted a seed and he was the first one through that door, helping me carry the books in. And my dad, this really big guy, he's about 6'6" and 300 pounds. And he was the butt of all my jokes that day. I mean, I was cracking the audience up. I was just talking about my dad. But people, you need these good accountability partners. Good people.
Now, just to shift a bit from that.
Yes.
You are here also to promote your book.
Yes.
My Purpose is for Real.
Here it is.
Yes. And I would like you to share with our audience what motivated you to write this book.
I wrote this book, Mr. Matoso, because in my clinical practice, I found that there were clients who needed a resource that was affordable to help them get their life back on track. In many people's lives, a lot of people get knocked off track because of an unforeseen event like a death, having children early in life, in my case, getting arrested, all sort of events can occur at the genesis of someone's life. And those events can knock you off track that will prevent you from achieving your purpose. So I thought to myself, what can I create as an affordable resource that in case you can't reach me for counseling, that I might be in another country, you can purchase this book, which is actually more of a workbook. Write in it, take notes, answer quizzes. It's a very interactive book that will be a wonderful resource for you, a friend, or a loved one who may need to get back on track to achieve their dreams.
You said you were arrested.
I was when I was 18 for fighting. So some of the issues you're talking about related to girls, I did. And I had to learn how to manage my anger, manage my frustration, and realize that there are better strategies versus physically punching someone. I can problem solve with my mouth and learn to walk away, learn to ignore, and not allow this to affect me where I think that I need to hit or hurt somebody.
So, based on what you are saying, as a teenager, you had anger issues.
As a teenager, I was angry, but I had problem-solving issues. Okay. I didn't have healthy ways of solving my problems, which resulted in anger and me wanting to lash out. So I needed to have better means of solving my problems, which might be a conflict with someone else, versus getting angry and ticked off where I want to fight or get into some sort of altercation.
So could you share some of those problem-solving skills that you utilize to get your life on track?
Yeah, so some of those problem-solving skills that will be beneficial to your audience is telling myself it's just not worth it. It's not serious. I don't want to get arrested or to be dealing with some of those sort of things. Another problem-solving skill that I might want to use with which I would like to share with your audience is including letting go, is talking with someone about the things that are making them upset or frustrating you. It's important to have a confidant, an accountability partner, someone that you can trust to get those energies out so they can help you problem solve or brainstorm through those things. Going for a walk, exercising to get that energy, because when you get ready to want to fight, oftentimes you have a lot of energy that you want to hit or punch or kick or something like that. So sometimes doing something more constructive, like playing a game of basketball, cricket here in Trinidad, or soccer or football, as you call it, will be really good strategies to get the energy out, right? So that the energy doesn't stay bottled up. When people keep the energy bottled up inside and they're not learning better ways to verbalize their frustration, what happens is then when they encounter somebody that maybe had nothing to do with why you're mad, they lash out and take the anger out on you. So there are better ways to problem solve and to get your emotions out without getting into a fight.
Dysfunctional home. What else? What else knocked you off track?
Health issues.
Health issues? Absolutely. Absolutely. Health.
Finance.
What you say?
Finance.
Finances?
Yeah.
Yes. Finances.
Oh, a sudden drop of it, dropping.
You know what happened to one of my friends having a baby early? You know, having a baby, and my sister in her teenage years, having a baby, she had a baby at 17, turning 18.
So unplanned pregnancy,
So unplanned pregnancies, yes. And she's 7. So many of us get knocked off track by all these different events, and there's so many that we can truly list the name.
brainwashing.
Brainwashing? So we could be a brainwashed? Absolutely. This guy I dated. Oh, I'm just transparent. You just don't know all my business. I don't care. He joined an organization called Hebrew Israelites. Have you heard of them?
Yes,
You know them?
Yes.
You know them? Y'all know them?
Yes.
Mostly blacks involvement.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And it's a, I hope no one's a member. I apologize if you are. But it can be very cult-like. And it brainwashed him. It really brainwashed him. So I agree that brainwashing occurs. So many of us and my clients have had all these things occur, or people I've dated have had all these things occur. And When you're trying to be successful and get yourself close to achieving your dreams, these are like an anvil on your leg, pulling you back or holding you down when you're trying to grow. And I had to quickly learn how to address my aggression. So I had to learn that I can't interpret what someone else does in such a hostile way that I'm always ready to fight. And because all that kept me into was a lot of trouble and police involvement. So I got arrested. My mom and dad had to come up to the university. They had to pay $100 to get out of jail. They had to come up and spend a couple $1,000s on a lawyer, and we had these continuances and all these sort of things until the state dropped the charges. But I still had to go before the judicial committee at the university, where they said, well, we're going to expel you for fighting on campus, but we're going to give you one more shot. If you do anything wrong during that time, we're going to really kick you out. So I had to quickly realize I got to get this under control. So I was inspired to write this book to say, hey, all of us get knocked off track. We all have dreams and wishes and aspirations, but we don't know how to get started. Everyone has to make a non-negotiable decision to chase your passion and not give up. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So I am giving you an opportunity to sign your name on this board to indicate you have made a non-negotiable decision not to give up on your life. Things, your wishes.
Could you give me a little bit more
Yes.
on what an accountability partner is going to be?
Okay. Your accountability partner is someone that you can write your goals and share them with them, and you give a timeline of when you want to accomplish these goals. And that accountability partner checks in with you to make certain that you're meeting the goals and you're motivating each other along the way to accomplish the goals. So your accountability partner will tell you, man, did you get your work done? You're slacking. Why are you slacking? Why didn't you do this? You need to do that. Your accountability partner will tell you the things you don't want to hear, but you need to hear.
You mentioned an accountability partner. And I've heard you mention this more than once. Could you sort of explain to our audience who this person is and how does this accountability partner work?
So an accountability partner is someone you trust with your dreams, trust sharing your dreams with them, trust sharing your fears, trust sharing your hopes and wishes and aspirations. So you talk to them about what you would like to accomplish, and they hold you accountable and ask you or check in with you to make certain that you're doing the right things in order, in a timely manner to get things accomplished. So they brainstorm with you ideas in case things aren't working out. They will motivate you. They will be your backbone when you feel down or upset. They also will become your cheerleader. They are your silent cheerleader. You may not see them at your event or you might not see them along the journey, but they're quietly cheering you on because they want you to succeed. So your accountability partner, you share these responsibilities with them. So what they do for you, you in turn do for them. So it's reciprocated. And then what happens is that you both climb a mountain together and you pull each other up if it seems like you're stumbling, but you get to the top and you both celebrate together. And I have an accountability partner. Her name is Dr. Danielle Wilson. She is phenomenal, a PhD in biochemistry. And I go to her all the time, and she holds me accountable for achieving my dreams. And you know what? I hold her accountable too.
So the relationship with an accountability partner, could you define that as one of positive reinforcement?
Positive reinforcement, encouragement, someone who will also apply some level of consequence to you. So they might, so if you don't hold up your end of the bargain, they may say, express displeasure that you're not doing what you need to do, but you know it's coming from an area of love. So So it's important to express to your accountability partner, don't be easy with me. You know, I want you to rake me over the coals if I'm not doing things that I should be doing. I want you to hold me accountable if I'm slacking off and being lazy. But they will reinforce you, and they can verbally give you consequences, not in a demeaning way, in a way that will give you tough love to encourage you to get back on track.
Good. To move to another subject, all psychologists at some point in time have dealt with the question of domestic violence. And in our workshop here today, we had two speakers who addressed this issue. In your practice, and I'm sure you would have women who come to you with these issues, what are some of the advice you would give them? And what are some of the things you believe advice you could give to prevent women from one getting into those situations, and if they get into the situation, how to get out of it?
Right, so usually a person, when you start dating them, doesn't automatically show you that they are going to be abusive physically or verbally. It usually starts off more as emotional abuse, and then verbal abuse, and then it escalates to physical abuse. So one, I would love for your viewers to recognize warning signs. If your partner is demeaning you, belittling you, telling you you'll never amount to anything, you'll never be anything, I made you, they're calling you names, if they are disrespecting you, doing things that chip away at your confidence, you're likely in an abusive relationship, and get out. Don't try to save the person. Don't say I love them, I want them to be saved. Get out. So that's the first thing that I would want you to do. So what if you've decided to stay and you have no other hope, and maybe you have kids by this person, then you might want to come up with a plan to exit safely to get out of the relationship, because some people really might not have the resources right at the moment to leave. So maybe they need to create a separate bank account, stash money away, find out where some shelters are, get another way and route to work and to home from work, and tell few people of what their plans are, or because they need to find an exit strategy out. Now, the reason why people tend to stay in domestic violence relationships is because they confuse the love with the jealousy and the aggressiveness by that person with love, and it's not love. It's really a toxic, unhealthy relationship. So it's just best to leave. It's best not to try to save that person. That person often needs psychological help in order to address their own personal issues of control and manipulation against that man or woman. In most cases, domestic violence is committed against the woman, but in many cases, and there have been some, women are the perpetrators against men. So whether it's male or female perpetrated, no one deserves to be in a relationship where they're being abused physically, emotionally, or sexually. You know, it occurs sexually. Often cases, the man will rape his wife or rape his girlfriend. You would think, well, I'm married to that person, I'm supposed to. You're not an object. You're not owned by anybody. You do not have to subject yourself to this sort of behavior. So it's best to leave and to find the best healthy exit strategy.
Now, recently in some of the books you read on psychology and relationships, the idea of codependency has emerged as a issue in domestic violence and different forms of abuse. Could you define in your own way what is codependency, and if it has any significant role in domestic violence?
So codependency is where two individuals feel like they have to rely upon each other in order to sustain themselves in life. Like, I need this person needs to be in my life. Without them being in my life, I will never make it. And then that other person who's also in a relationship says, it's us against them, it's us against the world, we are a team, you can't separate us. And what happens is, it's not a healthy relationship. They isolate other family members and friends from their lives because it's a us against the world. So that plays a part in domestic violent relationships because it becomes a codependent, it can become a codependent, unhealthy relationship. The man becomes codependent on the wife or the girlfriend. She can't leave me. I need her. I will die or I will kill her if she leaves me. So we have to change that sort of thinking in that partner, but we don't need that woman to stick around, right? You cannot give someone help in a relationship when they're violent and aggressive towards you. But codependency absolutely plays a part in these unhealthy relationships.
So, what are your dreams? Let's share them. We're not going to have a Joseph moment. We're not going to be the brothers of Joseph as they don't. We're not going to bow down. We're not going to do a Joseph moment, right? In the story in the Bible in Genesis where Joseph shared the dream and then his brothers kind of knocked him down. We're not going to do that. But we want to share the dream so we can put it in the atmosphere because in Habakkuk it says what? Write the vision, make it plain. So we're kind of writing the vision. I want to write my dreams because I still have dreams. And I still got to be mindful that I can get knocked off track because my one issue, aggression, will never go away. I just have to learn how to manage it. So what are some of your dreams? Don't be shy. I'm going to give you my dream. To be married. And I got to make certain that my aggression or my hostility doesn't impact that from occurring. So I'm going to be transparent. What are some of your dreams that might have gotten knocked off track that you want to go back and achieve? Promotion of the job. Promotion, absolutely. Job promotion. What else? Y'all are shy. To get a degree? Yes, to get a degree, college degree or any type of degree, college or... Some people had a dream that I know that were my clients to start a business. They want their own business. So these are realistic dreams. These are absolutely realistic dreams. But the problem is we don't know how to get started. And then we inconsistently apply strategies to get it to happen. And then you know what else? We give up too early if we don't see it coming. And that's one thing I refuse to do. Is that if I don't see it occurring right now, I'm going to just go and plant another seed and water that seed to make certain it occurs. So we have to learn not to give up and to manage the stress of going after the dream. To start a business, it takes a long time and a lot of hard work and effort. But once you start to see it coming together, it's like a seed that's planted in the ground. It takes a while for a mustard seed to grow into a tall tree, but it's going to grow, but you got to give it time. So if you don't develop your plan for your purpose,
the issue of violence in society, I suppose psychologists deal with this all the time. But would you say that since you started your practice, and I understand you have 14 therapists in your practice, would you say that you have seen, let's say, the last 7 to 10 years, an increase of that kind of violence in relationships? Would you say that, or it is not above normal? Would you say
I
that?
would say it's not above normal. It's not happening no more than I think it's happened in the past. Maybe people are just more aware, so we're pulling the veil back and uncovering that it's happening often. But I think the resources have increased so that women and or men who may be in these violent relationships, they have a way out. They can get restraining orders. They can get the police involved to protect themselves. They can go live in shelters. They can kind of find better ways of preventing themselves from becoming victim more to this relationship. But yes, it occurs, but I will say that I don't see it at higher rates than I see other things. I think sometimes people don't bring it up because they don't think that it's that big of a deal to worry about. We have other issues to worry about. This is just par for the course. It happened in my mother's marriage. It happens in my friend's marriage. So, this is just how sometimes a man will be, or this is just how sometimes my wife will be. So it's just good that there are more resources now available to discuss the topic.
The other thing I wanted to ask you about, recently we are seeing a lot of cases in the schools in the US in which teachers, both male and females, are having relationships with students. I mean, you go on the internet and you see this almost like an epidemic. There is literally a kind of gallery of mugshots of a lot of female teachers, right? And I guess I'm trying to understand, is this some trend which it shouldn't be? But how do you analyze that? What is your take on that?
Typically, we see male individuals preying on younger
predatory
girls.
relationships.
Yes, predatory relationships. We typically see that in male, young female, or male young males. I think women have had a history of being predators of males as well. We might not hear about it as much because males, or because it's usually female male, males may not view it in such of a predatory manner. They might say, hey, I got a notch under my belt. I have with this teacher, I fulfilled a fantasy, versus recognizing it as a predatory behavior. So as society has become more knowledgeable that women can be predators and that they do prey on younger men, we have empowered young boys with information so that they can speak up in cases where they're being preyed on by women. And as a result, we've been able to catch more women predators. Now the problem is they're not giving as harsh of sentences typically as they're giving men, because it hasn't gotten to the level where we view it equally, though the behaviors are equal. But in the cases with young boys, they are probably underreporting this predatory behavior because they feel like they've gotten a high five from the boys. Man, you've had this occur with the teacher, you're lucky. And so they don't see it as predatory behavior. So we need to instruct our young boys so they can understand this isn't healthy behavior. Call the police, tell someone, an adult, because we do not want this person in our life.
You must believe in the talents that God has given you. And know for certain, Graham, that He didn't give you those talents to hide them, but to use them to benefit or help others. Whether you're cooking, whether you got a business, whether you're a cancer researcher, whether you have a daycare, whether you are rich and you can donate your money, the type of success does not matter. What's important is just trying and excelling at something that you're good at. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
The last question is on your book. It is written by a woman, as you are, a very beautiful one at that, I might add. Some may perceive the book to be, for women only. I want you to, explain to our audience, how that book can be utilized by everyone.
Right, so the book cover is behind us, and I purposely chose colors that were gender neutral. I chose blue and greens and light colors, and actually on the cover of the book is a man. This isn't a female. And the reason why I did that is because people may look at my name and turn over the back of the book and see my picture and say, oh, this is a book for women. No, I purposefully did not make this a book for women. I made it a book for men and women. And in the story are stories that, in the book are stories that relate to men and women. I wrote it keeping that in mind. There are also testimonies in the book. Testimonials in the book, and in these testimonials they are written by men and women. So viewers listening to this or watching this, they can pick up this book and they won't think it's actually for a woman. They will read and see themselves on the pages of the book, and they will say, I'm happy that this book can be passed on to my son or given to my daughter because it's applied to both sexes.
And the name of your book is?
My Purpose is for Real. 7 simple steps to get back on track to achieve your dreams. You can achieve your dreams regardless of whatever setback you had. Those setbacks were setups for success. And I want you to know that and get this book. This book will help you or help a loved one.
Dr. Sanders, it has been a pleasure.
It has been a great pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
It's been a pleasure.
And I always had a passion for publishing. So I worked in the media, started learning publishing. Fast forward to like 2003 or so, I was locked up. And that was a distraction.
Yes.
It was not conscious distraction on my part, but a family member set me up.
Yep.
Right. But while I was locked up, I still maintained certain things I wanted to do in my life. And one of those was publishing a magazine.
Yes.
And while I was in prison, the only magazine I had access to was Vibe and Source and those different magazines. So, but I always loved gospel music and I was a Christian, even before I was locked up. So, my thought process came towards why not do a spiritual vibes? So I used to always read Vibe magazine. And I came back to Trinidad, and when I came back to Trinidad, the desire was still there, but I didn't have the finance, I didn't have the equipment. Long story short is that when I did start back working in the media again, and my boss, who thought it was a good thing to take back my contract, I used my last salary and I registered my publishing company. So I've been publishing for I've been published for like about, registered for like 2.5 years or so. They have a Facebook page, they have a website. But the thing is, there are times when I could have published the magazine or made a step to publish, and it will either be a relationship or a family or a friendship or a job or wherever it is that always come to sidetrack my vision.
Yes. Yes.
And so this year I determined that only God can sidetrack
Only God, yes.
people, friends, whoever it is. And there will always be that one thing that distracts you.
Yes.
And when, as you said, when God gives you something, it was Sister Margaret Elcock and deceased Miles Monroe who instilled in me a Sunday morning. And Sister Margaret had these little snippets she always say at the end of her program every morning. That last 5 minutes always the most important. And I remember she was saying that if you are the only person who recognize that there is a hole in the ground, there's a pothole, or there's a hole in the roof, or there's a stone on the ground. If you are the only person who recognizes there's a problem, chances are you are the one God called to fix it.
Right, right.
And I always realized that when Kurt Franklin came here, when Ron Connolly came here, I was the only person in the media who used to really go and cover these events.
Yes.
So I always had a passion for the Christian community and what the Christian does. So my desire, my dream is to publish a Christian magazine. You know, I'm on the road to the 850 something likes on Facebook, and I'm working towards that. But there'll always be something or someone to distract you. And the devil knows the purpose God has for your life. You will never see, you'll have 2 trees, a full green thick tree and a tree laden with fruit. Which tree people attack the most? Is the one laden with fruit. Unless you are not going to be productive in life, the devil will not attack you. But once he sees that you have a mission, he's going to always attack you. Whether it be sickness, whether it's an accident, your wife will leave you, your boyfriend will leave you, whatever it is, there'll always be distraction in life. But you are prepared to stand up and continue doing so.
It is so true. Let's give one hand. It will happen. We're prophesizing that it will happen.
I drive from Curb Junction, from Curb to come here.
Yes.
And come flying up the road.
Yes, and that is conviction and that is determination. And if you turn that same conviction and determination to come here, then you will put that in your growth of your magazine. It will manifest itself. That is a seed. You planted a seed today and God watered it.
And that's how we have to look at these opportunities. God is watering our seeds. We just have to make certain that we have faith that He will do it and He will send the sunlight.
Amen.
And there will be distractions. I mean, I have tons of distractions in my life. You will have distractions regardless of what age or stage in life you are in. What you have to do is, that's why we practice saying no. That is why we exactly practice saying no, because we have to learn to be like, I can't do it. I got this to do. Yeah, it may seem boring, but in the long run, when everybody else wishes they were in your position, you knew the sacrifices, what you needed to do to get there. Then they're going to be asking you, what did you do? How did you get there? So I write about that in my book, how to invest in yourself, how to make sacrifices. In order for me to be in Trinidad right now, talking to you, I made sacrifices 10 years ago. I didn't know it was going to lead me to Trinidad, and I don't know where else it will lead me, but I thank God that He gave me the vision and the wherewithal to make those sacrifices, and you will have that, and you will accomplish your dream, and I'm super excited to hear that. Other stories or thoughts, I mean, nothing, don't feel scared to share.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Sometimes the things that we need to accomplish, they come by, I don't want to say by chance, but I would want to say by divine intervention. I was sent to teach in a school in Point Fortin in 2005, right? And well, always not as far as Chicago, but
You were sent?
but to drive from where I live to Point Fortin was like a pull, you know. And I was always asking myself, why I have to be doing this? You know, on one occasion I got in an accident. This guy just walked in front of the car and he lost his air. Thankfully, that's how he lost, right? I was preparing a group of students for a cultural activity. And an 8-year-old girl looked up at me and said, "Sir, how come you teaching us to sing? And you not sing?" She was sing. And I had no answer to that, because as a teacher, one of the things that I truly believe is you teach by you. You know? And a week after, I had a song ended up on the radio. And now I have a music career that is taking off, right? Yes. You know, and one of the things that one of my dreams, I should say, is to make the world a better place. I mean, it's kind of broad, but that's why I channel my music, you know. And even though it's a kind of difficult road, because music these days is not for that purpose. but I'm seeing progress, you know, and a lot of people, when I told them I'm going to do this, they say, you can't sing. You know, but that didn't bother me, because I knew that this was something that I'm supposed to do. You know, and sometimes that is what drives us more than anything else. Knowing deep down inside that this is something that we really need to do. So I just want to share that.
I appreciate that. So he was saying that he drove an hour and longer than that?
Yeah, sometimes 2 hours.
Sometimes 2 hours. So what, quarter of what?
Point 14.
Point 14. Okay, so it sounds like it's far, wherever it
Okay,
is. Okay, so one point to the next point.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we've been driving far to Port of Spain, and we went to San Fernando. That was far. So it was probably just as far, right? But he knew deep down inside. You know, I've been on mission trips and other events, and I knew deep down inside that doing so will produce a product
or crop later. So what you did was you showed God faith without works was dead, and you gave him the works. You drove and you gave the works. We got to ask ourselves, are we willing to show the works to God so that he will then produce the crop in us later? And I'm a firm believer in the faith without the works is dead. What is your works? That is works. That is works. Driving here, that's works. If you want that business, you want that career, you want that husband, I'm talking to myself, where's the works? Right? And I think it's just really, really important. So we got 2 examples. Let's give another one.
I just want to focus on the issue.
Yes.
Is that possible?
Focus on the issue?
On the issue, yes.
Yes, absolutely.
My observation of all people
Yes.
is that the whole question of the lack of self-esteem and the lack of self-confidence are issues that we need to address in a very serious way. So what I would like you to do is to give us some comments
Yes.
on the factors you believe contribute to that lack of self-esteem and that lack of self-confidence, and what is the way forward so that the proper psychological environment, the proper psychological props could be present so that people could do what they have to do and be able to cope with the challenges which they must face in terms of the pursuit of their dreams.
Fantastic question. So what can we do to build up the confidence and the esteem, the self-esteem, to create to nurture our success? Because it won't happen without it.
Before that, give us an insight into what are the factors which you believe contribute to the lack of self-esteem and the lack of self-confidence before we arrive at where we will.
Okay, so there are a myriad of factors. So I can't list them all that contribute to reducing the self-esteem and confidence. So dysfunctional environments is one of them. So, many people get caught up in dysfunctional marriages or families where people belittle and demean. You'll never be anything. You'll never amount to nothing. I made you. Have you ever heard those statements before? And no one will buy what you have. You won't make it. So people can plant those seeds of doubts when you're in vulnerable moments in your life and you believe it. Right? And then if you have a couple of experiences right after that person plants that negative seed, then it reinforces the belief that you won't never be anything. So that can occur. Another situation that can occur is you're trying your best and you're working hard, and an unforeseen event occurs, like being locked up, and then that deflates you. And you lose the confidence because you start to believe that other people will look at you negatively. So when we start worrying about what other people think, then that will deflate our own confidence and our own esteem. Oh, they probably think I'm better than them. They probably think, that I will never be successful. They think that these thinks, or tinks, I think y'all say tinks. I'm trying to say it the way I've been hearing it. Will get in our head and in our spirit, and it become cancerous to what our goals are. Other things that can affect your ability to be successful is you may have grown up in poverty and you don't know what resources are available. Lack of knowledge. It's not because you're purposely ignorant. It's that when you don't know the resources that are available to make you successful, then you won't have the confidence that you can achieve it because you don't know how. So there are many things that can occur by happenstance or purposeful on the part of other people. And I'm a Christian. I believe in the enemy. I believe the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
Amen.
And so he purposely will send demonic figures or use them as vessels to stir up in your life strife, frustration. You don't have enough money that month. You feel frustrated. I'll never get this. And then you have obstacle after obstacle that you end up giving up. So what has to occur is that you have to really believe in what that dream is and know it deep down that you'll drive 2 hours or an hour, fly 9 hours or that even though someone tells you you won't make it, you know that in your spirit, God has given you a vision. See, God will speak to us in dreams. Have you ever had God speak to you in a dream? That you wake up and you was like, I see it, God. You got to hold on to that dream and believe it's there. So how do you build the confidence up? This is one of my confident partners. And I trust that she is going to pour into me positivity when she sees that I'm falling weak. So when she sees I'm like this, and she go, get up, hang in there. She becomes my back. She becomes my back when I'm not able to be strong. Who's your back? That's part of your confidence. They will tell you that it only takes one person. And if you ain't got a person, open up the Bible.
Amen.
It says you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. It says, for I know the plans I have for you. Plans to what? Prosper you and not to harm you. To give you a hope in the future. And then it also says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto your own understanding. When you see stuff messing up, don't make sense of it. In all thy ways, what? Acknowledge him. And he will direct your path. So there has to be a hidden word in your heart. It's a hidden word in my heart. And then it's a hidden word in her heart that will reinforce my heart. And I will do the same to her. So there are several things that can frustrate us and knock us off course. And not always will there be someone to encourage you, but look for the small ray of hope, right? So if God gives me an opportunity and I say, oh God, that's close to your vision, that gives me a little bit more momentum to keep going, like a little choo-choo train. So you got to look for just the little signs. It doesn't have to be these major signs. God will reinforce what your efforts are.
I am Ako Mutota. Today is March 28, 2015, and I'm about to conduct an interview with Dr. Daniel Wilson, who is visiting Trinidad to participate in our International Women's Day activity organized by the Jedna Institute. Dr. Wilson, welcome to Trinidad today.
Thank you. Thank you.
You have been here. Thank you. You have been here for 4 days.
Yes.
Would you like to share with us your experiences of being in Trinidad and particularly being in Mayaro?
Yes, I've enjoyed it so much. It's been an excellent experience and opportunity. I'm definitely full from all the food I've been eating. The food has been very good here in Mayaro. I've had the opportunity to go to Port of Spain. I've had the opportunity to go to San Fernando. San Fernando. But Mayaro is just like home here, so I really enjoy it.
So you have enjoyed your stay in Mayaro?
Yes, I have.
Have you been to the beaches?
I have been to the beaches. Yes, the very peaceful, calm beach that I like to call Lost because the forest meets the beach. And it's a beautiful place to just sit and think. Yes, I've enjoyed it.
Based on what you are saying, you think you will return to Trinidad and Tobago?
Yes, I will definitely return. If invited. I've received a couple of invitations since I've been here, so I will definitely come back.
That means you have created quite an impact.
That's a good thing.
Yes,
that's
it's a very good thing.
I know that you've been an excellent host.
Oh, thank you very much, very much. I know to get to what I consider your profession, you have acquired a PhD in chemistry. You are a professor in biochemistry.
In biochemistry, yes.
You are a professor at Bowie State University.
Yes.
And you are a cancer research specialist.
Yes.
If I'm correct. Would you like to share with us, for our audience, some of the work you have been engaged in?
Yes, definitely. Like you said, I am a professor at the Bowie State University in Maryland. And my research is twofold. I like to say that it's translational research. There's a basic science part of it, and there's a public health part of my research. So the basic science part of my research actually looks at brain tumors. And we look at a particular type of brain tumor known as glioma. And glioma is one of the deadliest kinds of brain tumors. There's actually proteins within the cell that helps the cell migrate to another location in the brain. Most cancers move through the bloodstream, but within the brain, there's not as many blood vessels. Therefore, the cell has to change its volume and its structure in order to move through the nerve tracts. And ion channels play a particular role, and we're trying to understand this role even more so that we can eventually develop some type of drugs. The public health part of my research, we actually look at the training curriculum for community health workers, and we assess it to see if they're actually learning the cancer biology of cancer in order to do whatever type of interventions they're doing within their community.
Now, some people believe that when you have cancer, it's a death sentence. Okay? And I want you to share some information, because I know you have said it is not a death sentence.
It's not a death sentence.
And I would like you to expand on that a bit.
Okay, so there's a number of misconceptions when it comes to cancer. A lot of people really don't understand it as a disease. Some people believe that we already have cancer cells. Some people believe that it's from the devil and they could just pray it away. Those are not the cases. Cancer is basically when normal cells within your body change, and that change is not corrected. All right? So your cells are always dividing, and you have different types of cells. You have skin cells, you have breast cells, you have stomach cells, you have colon cells, you have cervical cells, which is why you have so many different types of cancer. So whenever you have a cancer and there's a change within a particular cell that's associated with a particular organ, that's a cancer of that organ. Now, depending on where they catch the cancer, if it's at an early stage, an early diagnosis, there's good treatments out there that can prevent the development or the reoccurrence of that cancer. So not all cancers are death sentences. There's a couple of them within the near future we should eradicate. For instance, cervical cancer. There's a HPV vaccination. HPV is known as the human papillomavirus, and this virus leads to cervical cancer. However, they have a vaccination for it now. So the vaccination is for our younger girls. If they get it, it decreases the chance of them ever developing cervical cancer. All right, so that's one of the diseases, one of the cancers that we should be able to eradicate within the next couple of years. Another one is colon cancer. Colon cancer, if changes in diet and exercise, because believe it or not, your lifestyle choices can lead to the development or increase the risk of cancer. Lifestyle choices includes stress levels. It includes eating correctly. It also includes working out. It also includes decreasing exposure to particular chemicals in the environment. So colon cancer, if screened early, they can actually develop or detect polyps. They can clip them out and it can be prevented on a long run, as well as changing diet. So there are some cancers that if you get them, there are some cancers that if you find out that a loved one develops cancer, or if, you yourself develop cancer, do not panic. Be calm and learn as much as you can about it, all right? Because there are some, if you catch it at an early stage, you will survive, okay? So do not think of it as a death sentence. It's not a terminal disease 100%. You can prevent it if taking the right steps and understanding your body and learning more about your body and more about, the conditions and how you behave and how you eat, your behavior factors, and taking the proper screening and techniques. So that's why I say it's not a death sentence.
Not a death sentence. The general impression is that the only form of treatment for cancer is chemotherapy. And from my private conversations with you, you said that there is something called pre-chemo or something like that.
So
you could explain the technical things to our audience.
Yes. So chemotherapy, there's chemotherapy, which is what? If you think about what it means, you have chemo and you have therapy. You have chemicals, which is the chemo part, and the therapy is the treatment. So chemotherapy is using chemicals to treat. All right, and a misconception that people have is that chemotherapy is the same thing. Not true. There are over 100 different types of chemotherapy, and there's chemotherapy that's specific for whatever type of cancer you could have. So when someone has cancer, let's say it's breast cancer and another person may have colon cancer, they may not receive the same chemotherapy. Now, just like we have chemotherapy, there's chemo prevention. Chemo, chemicals, prevention, prevent. So there's drugs that are used to prevent cancer, and these drugs can range from synthetic drugs that are created by the pharmaceutical companies to Some of our natural drugs like vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin K, lycopene from red tomatoes, folic acid, all of those are known as chemoprevention agents. And they have been used and studied to either one, prevent the development of cancer in a population that's at high risk. So what's a high risk population? Let's say, for instance, men of African descent are known to be a high risk population for developing prostate cancer. So they have studies where they look at lycopene to see if it will develop that risk of them developing prostate cancer. And of course they have different screening mechanisms to determine who would enter that clinical trial. But those are some of the chemoprevention studies that are going on. They also have chemoprevention agents that are used to decrease the progression of cancer. So you will, in addition to doing your chemotherapy, your radiation, you'll begin to take folic acid or omega-3. And that will decrease the progression of the cancer. Or there's chemoprevention to prevent the reoccurrence of the cancer. So you've been through the treatments, they remove the cancer, you then begin to take a chemopreventative agents to prevent the development of the cancer.
No, there seems to be an increase in cancer among the world population. I know in our country, we are seeing more and more people being diagnosed with cancer. Some people believe that it has to do with environmental conditions, pesticides, pollutants, etc., etc. Would you have any opinion as to whether these are factors that could cause cancer?
Because I am a researcher, I'm going to say that my opinion is valid, but there's evidence. There's research papers, there's studies that show there are carcinogens, and carcinogens are basically cancer-causing agents. And the carcinogens, they are present in our environment. Some of them have been present in the pesticides, some of them, they're present in some of the household products that we use. Okay, so there are certain chemicals that can increase the risk of developing cancer. Anytime you have an industrialized society, you're going to have high stress, you're going to have more chemicals in the air, you're going to have people that have unhealthy lifestyles. The rates of cancer are going to increase whenever you have an industrialized society. It's, they're kind of one and the same. Cancer has always been around. Our cells have always mutated, but our body has had the ability to correct them. However, once again, when you're faced with certain risk factors, which includes exposure to certain chemicals, could be genetics as well, that's another risk factor. Exposure to UV radiation, we know that causes the DNA to mutate within a cell, which causes the cells to become cancerous. These are all risk factors that can lead to the development of cancer. So yes, our environment can cause certain cancers.
Okay, given that scenario, what would you suggest to our population? Because even in our communities here, we seem, and I say our communities, I mean the Mayaro, Guayagüari, and Rio Claro communities.